Plastic is a classic case of how we are capable of turning every blessing that we have into a curse upon ourselves. Due to irresponsible usage, plastic has become one of the most serious challenges in the ecological sphere.
It's, quote, extremely likely more than half of mean global temperature rise since 1951 was caused by human activity.
Another alternative for using plastic, maybe something that can like decompose or something rather than just using sort of plastic all the time.
In cities there's a lot more people, so there's a lot more pollution and there's a lot more of like leaving like rubbish around and plastic, and it's like affecting animals like birds that are in the cities, and they'll carry it somewhere else and it just like it's transported everywhere. We could try and find like more renewable sources, things that we can reuse, because you can't recycle plastic. It would just end up in the oceans or in land sites. So I found out that 8 million tonnes of plastic ends up in the ocean every year, which is insane because that's so much plastic and it's killing all the wildlife in the ocean, and it's just not right. I think our impact is destroying like habitats for like creatures and wildlife, and it's happening quite quickly and having a huge impact on the world around us.
I think that we're having a really negative impact on our planet because like we're creating loads of pollution for like the ocean and just like in general from like car emissions, and also just like the lack of recycling and stuff like that.
I think it's having quite a negative impact. It's obviously resulting in a lot of problems throughout the whole entire world, like sea levels rising and all that sort of stuff, and I don't think people are realising how much this is kind of changing our future if we don't do anything about it.
We're having quite a big impact due to the amount of pollution and, you know, things like plastic destroying the seas, which is causing a massive disruption to our planet as a whole.
I think we're having a negative impact on the planet. Like we're polluting the oceans, everything like that, so yeah, I think we're having a negative impact.
I don't think we're having such good effect on plastic pollution, as we're dumping a lot of the plastic in the ocean. If you've seen the David Attenborough Blue Planet, he's always gone on about plastic pollution. He's always gone on about plastic pollution and how so much plastic is being eaten into the system. So fish eat it and then it moves up the food chain. And they found it in our humans' bodies. So I think it's just negatively affecting all of us.
A lot of plastic in the oceans, like there's so many videos out there now on social medias about that sort of stuff, and I think there's a few other fast food restaurants are starting to go to the paper straws now, so it's looking positive, but it's just keeping up with that positivity, I guess.
I think they're having a negative impact because obviously a lot of people will be in the cities, like driving about, you've got trains, everything like that, so yeah, I think it's having a negative impact.
I feel like to reduce like the plastic problem that we have, we could literally just like recycle things, or we could try not to use as many plastic items. So seeing as like McDonald's have gone to like cardboard straws, which is better for the environment and stuff like that.
I think we could try and reduce the amount of plastic we use and think of like other ways to recycle or different materials to use to replace plastic.
I think we can reduce it by recycling more, also trying to stop people from like throwing rubbish into the oceans and everything, because I know that's having a negative effect. And I know McDonald's are sort of doing something now with the paper straws. I think that's a really good sort of idea that they've come up with.
But we can reduce it. For example, we're now using like plastic straws, and they're now changing things to like metal straws. They're trying to get different resources to try and like help this.
Well, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of like ambassadors out there with good points, but the first is obviously like the plastic. There's a lot of plastic in the oceans. Like, there's so many videos out there now on social medias about that sort of stuff. So I think plastic's a good start. You've got McDonald's who are starting with that. I think there's a few other fast food restaurants are starting to go to the paper straws now, so it's looking positive, but it's just keeping up with that positivity, I guess.
I think we could just recycle the bottles or reuse them, so instead of every time getting a drink and throwing a bottle away, just keep using it, so that way there's only one bottle, or changing some things into not plastic, different types of resources, so that way it's biodegradable quicker.
Like, I understand that we need places to live as humans, but by destroying habitats to create those places, we're also ruining like wildlife's homes, and we're going to end up killing all of our wildlife before the end of it.
With London and that, the congestion, it means that more fuels are being used up because we keep stopping and going, and because there's more cars, it's not really helping.
I'd say trying to reduce the number of cars that there is on the road is a good start, because obviously that's creating a lot of pollution in the air. But getting people to stop driving is quite difficult, and it would take a lot of work. But I think if somehow the government can kind of put that in place, I think that would be a good contribution.
Just walk short journeys, don't always drive your car. If you're going to the same place as someone else, give them a lift, so that way there's less cars being used.
I think we could reduce climate change one way by getting people to sort of share lifts, like sort of reduce the amount of cars that are driving about, and yeah, also public transport being free or like at a lower cost, so that more people will be attracted to get a bus or something rather than driving into work or going to college or anything.
Well, we could try to reduce climate change by sharing like transport and like growing our own like sources of food like that's necessary.
I think cities are affecting global warming due to the amount of transport that goes on, mainly in a city, because you know the people's jobs are there, so there will be access to trains, the tubes, cars, taxi, just stuff like that. So yeah.
Well, obviously in cities there's a lot more people, so there's a lot more pollution, and there's a lot more of like leaving like rubbish around and plastic, and it's like affecting animals like birds that are in the cities, and they'll carry it somewhere else, and it just like it's transported everywhere.
I think they're having a negative impact because obviously a lot of people will be in the cities, like driving about. You got trains, everything like that. So yeah, I think it's having a negative impact.
Well, a lot of new buildings are being created. There's a lot of people being created, so they're obviously going to be needing more things, and the popularity around the cities nowadays, that's going to, like I said in the previous question, a lot of people are going to be driving and travelling to different places, so that's going to be using quite a lot of that.